and tight, can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
From the gavel's first bang to the witness stands tears, Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time, tuning every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret, in Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag, from catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey everybody. Hey. Hi everybody. How are you guys doing today? Y'all, I have notes galore. I got notes. I've been, trying to get all these testimony. I got the mom's testimony. I got day 3. I got Amber part 2. Amber part 1. So I got a lot. I want it to be as detailed as possible. Like I said, I want to give you guys an overview of what happened in court. Let me tell you guys, it's this case here. Jury has been extremely emotional. Let me tell you what the emotion was all about today, y'all. I was extremely emotional on a part that happened today. They showed Nate after he went to the church, because remember I told you he went to the church after he set the fire off. He walked all the way 7 miles to a church in Rockdale, and they showed the body cam, the video of when he was inside the police car, and the pastor gave him some food. First, the pastor prayed with him. That they had everybody in the courtroom boo-hooing. The pastor prayed with him, and then turned around and gave him some food, y'all. And the way that baby was eating that food, you could tell he hadn't eaten in a while. He was licking the plate. And he belched a couple of times, because when you have an empty stomach and you're filling it with some food, you're gonna have some gas bubbles. And he was burping, and we laugh and things like that, but it was so sad. The way he was devouring that food, he felt like this was his last meal. He said it. This is his last meal. It was heartbreaking. It's so much to tell you, and it's late, and tomorrow I'm gonna have to get up. But I promise you guys, I will go over all these notes real soon. But I'm gonna give you guys a cliff note type of coverage of what happened um today. They had the officers come. Hold on a second. Let me just give you guys. Because I said I was gonna give you guys real notes. I mean real breakdown. But because I'm getting on here pretty late, and I've got to go back to court tomorrow because tomorrow I'm not missing because the mom is coming back on the stand. And but I'm gonna give you guys, high level of what happened today. When I walked in, they had the officer in from Rockdale in the courtroom, and he was playing the body cam, and um all right, let me just go ahead on and tell you what happened. Okay, let me go ahead on today they had two officers. They had the nurse practitioner who did the examination of the boys, and she also talked about, she's also an expert in SANE, which is the sexual assault nurse examiner. She also is, she's certified in that, and she explained the whole thing about the possibility of a child or a young adult child being abused, SA, without having evidence of the hymen being broken. She basically dispelled what his attorney was basically saying, because his attorney the day before, on Friday, when the medical examiner says that she didn't see any SA abuse in Zoe when she did the examination, the same certified nurse practitioner came in today, basically dispelled the whole theory that she was not SA because there was no evidence of it. And she was trying to explain that if a child has been SA, say the year before, a couple of weeks before, you wouldn't be able to tell, because the only time you'd be able to tell is within 3 days of that child being SA. And she also talked about how the hymen could be shaped, had the mounds and things like that. Remember they talked about that in McDuffie's case? Remember that? And so it's the same kind of situation on this one as well. Okay. The body cam was from April 17, 2022. and it was about, it said the time was at 12:51, but the officer said he got there between 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning to the church because the elder Brett from the Bethel Church of Rockdale contacted them when they found the young man, Nate, at the church. And Nate was telling him that he had did something, which, he confessed to setting the house on fire because he wanted the house to burn down. He walked 7 miles from Logansville to Rockdale to the church, and he told the elder that he wanted to go to Conyers to find a job, and then after getting a job, he was going to travel to Florida. And then the elder asked him whether or not he had anything to eat, and he said no. And so he tried to get as much information from Nate that he could, but Nate was tight-lipped. He didn't want to he didn't want to give his name. He didn't want to give where he lived. He didn't want to give his age or anything like that. And but when he mentioned the father, the elder said that he went nuts. He was, I guess, got upset when the elder mentioned the father, because he was asking him who was he, and mentioned where's his mom, his dad, and then that's when he went nuts. But he wanted to help around the church, so then the elder saw that he had 2 lighters in his hand, and then by the time the elder called the police and the officer came there, officer from Rockdale came there, and he got him he had him to sit in the car and then he started asking him questions. He asked him for his name. He gave him his first name, then he asked him for his last name. And he said his last name was a secret. He didn't want to give the officer his last name. Then the officer asked him why was he at the church. He said he ran away from home. And then you see the jurors started taking notes when he mentioned about him running away from home. And then the officer asked him where he lived, and he told him where he lived. And then the officer asked him, because his speech impediment kept the officer from understanding what he was saying. So the officer kept asking him the question over and over again. And he tried to say he lived on Beaver Road. And the officer kept he said, spell that. And so he couldn't spell it. He couldn't spell Beaver Road. So the officer got the 2 cigarette lighters, and he said, the officer said that those lighters was nice. He asked him, why did he set the house on fire? He says he wanted it to burn down. And this was Officer Bank from Rockdale. Then he gave his background, how long he was been an officer and things like that. So we watched the video. We watched the video from the time he's talking to him until he feeds him. And they ended the video after he finished eating. Guys, he was devouring that food. He took the plate. He was licking the paper plate. He was licking it. And then the juice, he was drinking the juice, and when it was gone, he kept trying to get every drop out of the juice. Every drop, right? Then they gave him, I think looked like 2 donuts, and he was eating the donut. He was the donut crumbs fell on the thing. He was picking every little crumbs off the plate. If something dropped on his pants, he picked it up and he was eating it from his pants and everything. So he was starving, y'all. He was starving. Uh, and I looked over at the jurors. They were crying. They had tissues. And I even had a tear because when the pastor prayed with him, I even had a tear in the prayer. And God answered his prayer because exactly what the pastor was praying about, it came to fruition. He asked for him to, well, I'll tell you guys later on about it. Um, then after that officer got off the stand, then they brought up Sergeant Dunn of Gwinnett. He's a police officer. He was been there for 10 years. And he was the one responsible for putting out the search, the warrant for the arrest of the parents. Because after the fire, when he was looking at the pictures that was done by the investigating group, he noticed some things that were strange in the picture. He noticed the 5-gallon of blue buckets around the house. He saw them in the kitchen. He saw them like by the rooms. Then he also noticed that the refrigerators had locks on them. So that brought this to his attention. And he, from his experience and his education and knowledge, he saw that these kids were being abused. They did contact DFACS on the parents, and after he saw signs of neglect and abuse on the children, and when he went to the precinct where the kids were, he noticed that the kids were like not well kept. He saw that their clothes was extremely dirty, and the kids smell, they had a body odor on them. And it was signs of neglect, right? And he is the one who actually got the DFACS involved. And DFACS came, and you guys have told you how the DFACS case manager came, and she's the one who took the kids to get checked out, get their physical, so they can see exactly how malnourished these children were and how much of abuse that they have experienced. And then, of course, Nate at the time had gotten arrested during the time when the others were going into foster care. They did the forensics interview. Forensics is a science of interviewing individuals. They try to get information in a setting that is less traumatic to the children, and trying to get it in a different setting that would help them to pulls information out from the kids, right? He talked about the delay in talking about sexual abuse, saying that some kids don't come out and tell their story of how they were SA for a while. Some take years, some takes a couple of months, it depends on how the child, it depends on the individual, how the child reacts, and if they feel comfortable sharing it, or, they might have that allegiance or loyalty to that parent, and that sometimes that could be a difficult thing as well. And he mentioned that by the third interview is when Amber disclosed her SA abuse. And then after she did that on August 31st on 2023. And after that, on October 4th, they did a superseding indictment to include the essay that Amber talked about. She also talked about how her little sister was abused by the father as well. And Officer Dunn, is the one that went to the grand jury to talk about the abuse that that happened based on the Mosaic. The Mosaic is the company that did the forensics interview for the children. So he looked at the Mosaic interview, and based on that, he went and to the grand jury to get the additional indictment. He talked about that he put in a supplement report about Amber, talked about the problems that she was having with her parents, right? Then she said the abuse, Amber had mentioned how the abuse stopped when she started working at Waffle House. She wasn't treated as bad as the others when she was working at Waffle House, and she was working third shift with her father. One of the things that they did bring up, a co-worker that worked with them at Waffle House, and she came there to give her observation of what she saw while working with them at Waffle House. She said that she, throughout the whole time, they only worked for a couple of weeks. Throughout the time of them working there, she did not know that Amber and William were father and daughter. And they asked her, did they ever see Amber eat? And she said no, she never seen Amber eat. She asked one time, she had asked her, why don't she eat? And then she says, I can't eat unless he says it's okay for me to eat. So the co-worker thought maybe it's because, she didn't want to cook and she was waiting for the cook to cook some food for her. The father was the cook, but she never knew it was because she had to get permission from her father to eat. So there were times when Amber was working at Waffle House where she did not eat at all because her father did not allow her to eat. So she talked about that. She talked about how quiet they both were. They didn't say much while working there. And she also said the mother was the manager. So Karina, which is the mom was the manager. She hired the husband as the cook and her daughter as the waitress, server, whatever they call it. I wrote some notes down in regard to what I observed with the jurors. I noticed two of the male jurors, they were looking at William with a disdained look. You know how somebody's just like disgusted at somebody, they like staring at them. They were staring at him. One juror was shaking his head, and I saw one juror all the way at the end. She's just laid back in her chair. She kept rocking in her chair like this. She was extremely. I think this type of case here is one of those type of cases, very emotional. It's very that you can't believe that kids are going through this type of stuff. So then the next person that came up to testify, well, the co-worker, her name was Tasha Robinson. And she didn't say much. Her testimony was real short and to the point that even the defense didn't even ask any question. The last person that got on the stand was the mother. When she got up on the stand, well, let me just read what hers, because I really want to read her thing. Hold on a second. This is the mom's testimony. All right, she got up on the stand. It says I'll ask her to put her right hand up as far as she can do it, and she says, she said, she told her, do your best to raise your hand, even with the handcuffs on. She says, okay. The mom says, okay. He says, do you swear to tell the truth, that your statement, your testimony statement that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God? And she says, I do. And she says, you're doing a good job, but can you please pull the mic closer so you can talk on in the mic? And she says, can you tell the jury your name? And she says, Karina McCue. She says, Miss McCue, have you been in custody since your arrest? The whole time since your arrest? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, since June 2022? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, okay. Is your husband William McCue? She says, yes, ma'am. She kept saying, yes, ma'am. She says, yes, ma'am. Do you see him in the courtroom, or can you point him out to the jury? She says, I do. Can you describe what he is wearing and where he is sitting? She said, he is wearing a blue sweatsuit. He is sitting right there. She pointed. She has the handcuffs on. She says he's sitting right there. He says, did you give birth to 5 children? She says, I did. She says, tell me your kid's name. She says, Amber, Nathaniel, Sean, Cody, and Zoe. And then she says, were you being charged with multiple crime against them? She says, I was. She says, I'm going to show you a copy of your, and she says she's going to mark it as 23B. This is the case number. 23B 03499-2. Do you recognize a copy of the indictment on which you were charged? She says, I do. Then prosecutor says, okay. Were you charged along with your husband? Were you charged with 3 different counts of felony murder? 3 counts? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, were all those based on Zoe's death? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, based on the fact that you were committing a felony offense that contributed to the death of Zoe? She says, yes, ma'am. Were you charged as aggravated assault against all 5 of your children? Is that where you were charged with in this document? She says, yes, ma'am. And were you charged with cruelty to your children against all 5 of your children? And she says, who do you the specific act of cruelty to them, also depriving them? And she says, yes, ma'am. Are you also charged with false imprisonment of all 5 children? She says, yes, ma'am. And were you charged with cruelty children count by yourself? He said, or based on your husband and your husband essay assault of your daughter? She says, yes, ma'am. Did you take a guilty plea on all counts in which you are charged, except the 3 murder counts, because they're doing no process on the 3 murder counts, right? She says, yes, ma'am. And she says, what is your understanding when you entered a guilty plea, that you were pleading guilty to everything except the murders? She says, that's fine. Yes. Do you understand that you haven't been sentenced yet? Remember I told you she has not been sentenced. She'll be sentenced after this case is over with. So they're withholding her sentencing because they're saying that she could get between 1 year to 90 years in jail. Okay, let me finish reading this. She said, yes, ma'am. Is it your understanding that you can be sentenced, but you beg the judge for mercy, and you can get as little as 1 year and as much as 90 years in prison? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, okay. And that's because the state agreed to dismiss the murder counts if you would go in front of the judge for sentencing on everything else. And she says, just for testifying in this trial? She says, yes. Do you understand? She says, yes, ma'am. She says, okay. Now here she goes. She's going to start. She says, first question I want to ask you. As to make sure that I get it covered, you said you have 5 children. And these 5 children, is it with Mr. William McCue, the person you pointed in the courtroom? Is he the father of all 5 children you named? She said, yes, ma'am. Did he have a vasectomy after you guys had Cody? She said, yes, ma'am. Okay. So Cody was born in 2014. Sometimes after 2014, he had a vasectomy? Yes, ma'am. Okay, when you said when was that? She says, I don't recall. Was it before the pandemic or after COVID? She said, yes, ma'am. Does it seem like it was some period of time before COVID? She says, yes, it was definitely some time before COVID. I wanted him to get the vasectomy, that too, whatever, right? Then she goes in, she says to her, oh, hold on. Sorry. I have to highlight what I just finished off. Hold on. Because this thing is good. I found myself going back to where I was at before. Okay. So then she says, since she goes and asks her, she says, I want to talk to you about a timeline of things that happened in your house. Did you live with William and your children on Beaver Road? She said, yes, ma'am. Have you lived there with your children the whole childhood? She said, not the whole childhood. So she thought she was talking about her, no, but she was talking about the children's childhood. She says, no, not the whole childhood. I don't know. She said, you had your family residence there, right? For your family. She says, yes, ma'am. Were there a time period when you worked and some of there were, I don't know what I wrote on this one here. She says, well, she was basically referring to her working. Did she work the whole time during the time she was having her children? She said, yes, ma'am. She says the whole time. And then she even talked about how she worked 2 jobs. She worked over 80 hours a week. She worked one job full two full-time jobs while he was a primary caretaker of the children. Then she asked her where did she work. She gave a rundown of different companies that she worked for. And then she also mentioned the part where she went to work at a job where she moved all the way to Wisconsin, and she was working there for a year. So she asked her, did she work there for the whole time and not come home to see the children? She said she came home 3 times, and each time it was for a week. So it was 3 weeks out of the full year that she came home to see the kids. So meanwhile, he was up there, he was with the kids throughout the whole time. And so she talked about how she had to hurry up and come back home because her husband lost his mind. He started flipping out and started saying that Zoe had a demon inside of her. You hear me? She had to rush home from Wisconsin because he said the child had a demon in her. Right? And so that's when she came back down to work, and she got a job working at Waffle House, and then she had also worked at Chili's as a waitress. And she asked, were you a manager at some point at Waffle House? She says, yes, ma'am, I was. Do you remember what time period outside right now you having your kids? So she was saying how the husband is the one that decided to homeschool the children, right? And so the prosecutor asked her, why did Sean, the child that went to school, why did he was the only one to go to start school? So she said because the husband was not teaching them, and she ended up trying to come home and teach them to some school lessons, and then she wanted them to like transition to public school because she felt that they were way behind. And so when he went to school, she was at work, and the school DFACS called her and said that Sean had a mark on his face, and that he had said the father did, slap him on the face, and he left the mark. So that's when they decided to take him out of the school. Right? So that didn't work out. Okay, so she talked about, then they started asking her about homeschooling and the curriculum. Did they follow a curriculum from the homeschool thing? She said she tried. They asked who was the primary person who homeschooled the kids, and she said it didn't turn out well. And William was the one, because she was at work all the time, so he was the one who's supposed to be taking care of teaching the children, educating the children at home. Then the prosecutor asked her, do she remember an incident where the investigation of something that happened in school related to Sean? She says, I do. He says, okay, tell me what you remember. She says all she remembers is that she got a phone call at work saying that DFAC was going to come to the house that afternoon and do an investigation. But apparently he went to school, and they claimed that he had a bruise scar on his face, and when he came to school, and then he stated that it was his father that did it. And Sean, that which led the investigation. And he says, are you aware William was contacted by the school? And he said the fact that it was related to an investigation, and so they decided to take him out of the school. Um, then they asked how old was Cody at the time. She said Cody was about 1 year old. And then she asked, she says, I want to ask you about a time when you were out of state and you had to rush back. And he says, yes, you remember. She says, she was working as a railroad conductor, where she was controlling the trains remotely in Wisconsin, and she was working there in 2018. She says, how long were you in Wisconsin? She said, over a year. And she said that she asked her, why did she go to Wisconsin? She says the job market was better up there, and initially she was looking for a job in Wisconsin, and then she got hired with the railroad company, and she was working with them as a conductor and remote control operator. So you were actually driving the train? She said no, she was controlling them remotely. I wonder how did she get that job when she didn't have that experience. Okay. She says, were you planning to relocate the whole family to Wisconsin? She says, yes. Did you have any connection in Wisconsin? She said, no, she did not. Did you have any family, anybody in connection, any family there? She says, no. She says, how did you think about Wisconsin? She says, basically the job opportunities in the area, and she did her research. So she left. So they asked her, did you leave your family when you were gone for a year? She says, yeah. Is that about the timeline? Do you remember? She said, so Cody was only 1 year old when she left to go find that job, y'all. The baby was only 1. She left her kids there with that man all that time, and that's when she said he snapped. He went crazy. So she said he had a mental breakdown. And she says, how do you know? What did he say to you that made you think that he had a nervous breakdown? Well, he told her that Zoe was possessed with a demon. Did he ever talk about any other kids being possessed by a demon? He says Nate was possessed with a demon as well. Have you ever mentioned about anything about Amber being possessed? He said no. She says no. She didn't say anything about Amber being possessed. So he told you that Zoe and Nate are possessed by a demon. And when he tell you this, is it in person or over the phone? She said it was over the phone when she was in Wisconsin. Then she asked her, okay, can you tell me about your religion? What's your spirituality? What religion do you practice do you guys practice in your family? She says that he was a Christian, but she believed in a higher power. And she said, he asked her, well, she says, there was ever a time you was taking the kids to church and it was him that was taking the children to church. So, so then she says to her, what did you think when he said on the phone that Zoe was possessed by a demon? Were you surprised? She says, she was disturbed. Did this seem to come out of the blue? And was it something kind of interest in spirituality or some kind of discussion that you guys had about demons? And she says that, when he said that the kids was possessed by a demon, what was the kind of emotional state was he? Did he laugh about it? I didn't. She said she didn't think much about it, and she said he was in good emotional state. I mean, was he? Then the state asked, was he laughing? She says no. Was he making a joke? She says no. Did he sound sad or scared or angry? She said he sounded concerned and frightened. And she says, what did you do? She says, I dropped everything, came down. Do you ever remember the time when you had a discussion with William that he was talking to the children in front of you about being a demon? So he accused Karina of having a demon in her as well, not just Zoe and Nate. He accused her. And so she said, yeah, sure. And so she asked, what did he do? So basically, he took her in the backyard and put her in a pool, I guess, to get the demon out of her. She said that he became paranoid. He was, and then he tried to keep things private, right? Did he put up privacy fence? So let me tell y'all, they showed the house, right? And he put a white privacy fence around the whole house, right? And where the neighbors were, he extended it higher. He put like double fence on the one where so the neighbors couldn't look. Because, say the fence is like 8 feet right here, right? Then he put another one on top of it where so the neighbors couldn't look in his house. But the ones on the side where there was no neighbors, he kept it at that 8 feet, whatever feet it is, 6 or 8 feet. It's tall for the kids can't look over. But the part where you saw neighbors, he added, like he stacked the fence on it to have an extension they couldn't see. All right. So he wanted privacy. He didn't want the neighbors to look inside his thing. Okay. He even talked about the time when the husband locked her, the wife, inside the house. Because remember, the door is locked from the outside. So he locked her inside the house. He told her he was going to go visit the family. So he locked her inside the house and he left with 4 of the kids. So he left Nate with the mom, and he took Zoe, he took Sean, he took Amber, and he took Cody. He took those kids. And then later on, the police end up calling her to come get the kids because he broke into a house. Remember, the police called, and so he ended up going to jail. He was in jail for 2 months. And remember when I told you that Nate, when he was testifying, the only time things was good was when the father went to jail. Yeah, so that was the time when he was with the kids. The mom was with the kids. Okay. But let me just tell y'all, because I don't want to keep reading because it's a lot to read in here. But let me tell y'all something. Open a window. Well, she got out. That's how she got out. That's how she got out. Let me tell y'all something. They asked her. Let me tell you what they asked her. They asked her, was he having sex with his daughters? And you know what she said? She said yes. Y'all know he going to jail. Y'all know, right, y'all? This man is going to jail. Those jurors is going to send him up the creek. I'm telling you, he's going to jail. He's going to jail. And I know it's, I know you, I know it's, you're not supposed to, because he going to jail. The way those jurors were looking at this dude, he is going to jail. Because the wife just put the nail on the coffin. Nate started it off. And I mean, what the wife was saying matched what Amber was saying. But let me tell you something. Either she was very scared of him, or she just throwing everything at him. You said stuff I don't want to hear. I know, Joe. Joe, this is like disgusting. This was disgusting. But I mean, I tell you, look, see, I got notes. See, I got notes. I said I was going to be very detailed about it because I was trying to write whatever they were saying. Yeah, she definitely. But here's the thing. Oh gosh. I think she knew from the beginning. She just didn't find out. Because when he got... Remember, Amber said the mom didn't like her. It was more of a competition. She ain't all that innocent either, y'all. Because remember what Nate said. Nate said the mom chased him down the street, brought him back, and beat him, put him on a thing. She talked about the time when the two boys climb out the window because they were locked up in the room. They climb out the window and jumped up. And Sean was 5 years old and Nate was about 8. Jumping out the window, y'all. Kids jumping out the window to get out the house. They showed pictures of the car, all the stuff they had gotten from Walmart and places like that, because they looked like they were on a getaway. They were going to get away from that when they were looking for them, because once they started the investigation, they found out some stuff was happening to the kids and them being abused and stuff like that. They hauled off and disappeared. Yeah, the mom knew. Come on now, she knew. She was having it out with Amber. Amber said her mom didn't like her, so 3 out of 5 kids have their own mom. No. All 5 kids would belong to her. All 5 kids belong to her and him together. All 5 kids. All 5 kids. But she is still on the witness stand. They didn't get too far, but that's what she was talking about today. I was like, oh, the coffin, the nail has been hit on that coffin. That man is done. He's done. And Amber is such a sweetheart. I mean, the kids are so sweet. They are so they're very mannerable, very kind. They are very innocent. Very. When I tell you the mindset of Nate, y'all, Nate is a sweetheart. When I was getting out the elevator, he was going there. Me and him almost banging into each other. He is he's a happy boy, very happy. But you could tell they have delay. But they're smart, but they still have innocence. A very And oh, let me tell you what he did. He used the book of Leviticus, and I said I was going to look in the Bible. He goes and tell the child that the Bible says a son cannot lay with the mother, right? But the Bible didn't say anything about a father laying with his daughter. Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that? He said the Bible mentioned about the son should not lay with the mother, but the Bible didn't say nothing about the mother laying with the father laying with the daughter. So meanwhile, it's okay for the father to lay with the daughter. Leviticus. Hold on. That's his excuse for laying with his daughter. Oh, Joe said, ooh, okay, rather hear about the Lego story drama. See y'all. Nah, Joe, stay your butt in here. Nah, Joe, you always come up with some mess. Come on, stay in here, Joe. Joe's trying to run out of here. He's not trying to hear what's going on, but get your butt in here. Hold on a second. Let me go look at Leviticus. Okay. Oh, it's in, if y'all want to read, it's Leviticus start with chapter 18. It says, do not violate your father by having relationship with your mother. She is your mother, and you must not have relationship with her. Hold on, let me let y'all see it. Hold on. I keep all these words mute for a reason. Did the neighbors notice anything was off? They never let the kids out. They never let the kids out for neighbors to see. Never. They never even know. The neighbor never, they never, remember, they've been living in that house. The kids been in that house, never go out. None of that. No. And they had those fence up. What I'm going to do tomorrow, I'm going to take a ride to where the house was so you guys can see where it was at. I'm going to take a ride over there. I'm going to show you guys. That's going to be our field trip, okay? We're going to go on a field trip. We're going to go take a trip. But I got to get to court early tomorrow because I want to finish hearing her testimony. The state is resting. Oh, look at this. She said Leviticus chapter 18, verse 6, Leviticus 18, verse 17. Hold on, let me share. Hold on. All right. It says, speak to the Israelite, blah, blah, blah. I am the Lord your God. You must, blah, blah, blah. No one is to approach any close relative. Wait a minute, it says it right here. It says no one. That includes the father. You hear this? Right there. This man twisting the Bible. What? This man's sick, 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 sick. Right. If y'all want to read it, it's in Leviticus. He manipulating the Bible, y'all. He cherry picking what he want to pick. It says any close relative. So your daughter is your close relative. See, he tried to manipulate the word. These people, man, they be making me sick with that. Cherry picking. Well, I'm just gonna tell you, the man, she just sealed his coffin. She just sealed his coffin. And somebody's going to pay for Zoe's death. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I believe he is going to be convicted for Zoe's death. You know why? Because in the state of Georgia, to have a room, you must have a window and you must have a closet. And Zoe's room was in the bathroom, the middle bathroom, with no window and no closet. So therefore, are his parents in court? You talking about no, he don't have nobody in court supporting him. He has nobody in court supporting him. Nobody supporting that man in court. Nobody. Everybody's on over there with the kids. Nobody, not even her parents is not even in court, but she's not on trial. So nobody's in the court for him. Nobody. Okay, the brother, okay, let me tell you what happened. Nate was charged. Nate was in jail for about almost 6 months. He was in jail. But once they start doing an investigation and once they got the doctor involved and see the abuse that he had, it was an outcry that he had. Nate had an outcry. He was trying to bring attention. He was not trying to kill his sister, because when he found out his sister was unalived in there, because remember, he left the gate open so the firefighter could be able to make it inside there to help to save the family. Okay. And he told him what had happened, what he did, but he didn't know that his sister was not. And the mom is the one that got the kids out. She's the one who called 911 because he was asleep. She was asleep when Nate started the fire. So definitely I don't think she should be accused of the unalive. But listen, she could have told on that man before all of this happened. She could have told, but I think she might have been scared of him. I don't know, y'all. I'll wait till we have the hearing, the rest of her testimony. I'll tell you what the breakdown is, what was going on. So I'm gonna get a toner to tone this thing. I want to tone it down a little bit because it's too bright. With Pamela. Pamela is the one that got me doing my hair color. So yes, she could have told. Would the police keep her safe if she had? Kim, you're right. You're right. Probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't. But she's the one who saved those other kids. She's the one who got them out there. She broke the window and got the kids out. She cried. And that man, the only time you saw him with any emotion is when she told about when she realized that he was having SES with his daughter, when something about the chicken coop. That's when he was like making a reaction there. But throughout the whole time when she's crying up there about Zoe and all this, no emotion, y'all, no emotion. No, I did see him cry one time. I did see him cry one time. But I mean, I would have been boo-hooing throughout the whole trial. That was me. But it ain't me. So this case here is really a tough one. Oh, he gonna be convicted. He going down. He gonna get something. And I still believe he should get the part where Zoe was in that room, because she would have been saved just like the other kids if the mother could have got inside that room, that thing, because there was no window, and it was so hot. She said she couldn't go back inside there. Couldn't go back inside the house because she got all the other kids out. She got Sean out first because Sean was following. She had to tell Sean to go out the door. She made sure Sean got out the door. Then she went and broke the window to try to get Cody out. She got Cody out the window, and that's how come he had some scratches on him. And then because she broke the window where she had pulled him out, and then she went and threw a rock trying to get Nate out, and she looked in the room and Nate wasn't in there. Nate was gone. And Zoe, she couldn't get Zoe. She cried on that stand. She couldn't get Zoe out. She called 911 before she got Cody out. Yeah. Hey, Miss Richard. It's really, really sad. And this dude was having SES with the baby, 7 years old. He started doing it with what's her name, when she was 7. Then he started with the baby at 7. And then that nasty bastard, Lord forgive me, but that individual man, that mental illness guy, I'm gonna tell you what what's her name said. When he couldn't finish it off with Zoe, he went and finished himself off with Amber. Had the two of them in the room, in the bed. Just nasty. And anybody who don't believe that stuff like that there is a delay, there's in disclosure, everybody, their experience is different, y'all. Never say somebody didn't do anything until, I don't know, y'all. This is crazy. Okay. That's basically it, y'all. That's all I got for y'all. And I know you guys are like, okay, this is just a heavy topic. It's a heavy, mind-boggling type of thing. It just make your head just spin. Can you imagine a parent doing that to a child? Their own child. You know what I'm saying? Their own child. I'm not saying it's right for them to do somebody else's child, but your own child. Gee. But anyway, I'm about to end this live because members, I got something to show y'all. I got something to tell y'all. Got something to tell y'all. But in the meantime, if you guys are okay now, I will be going back to court tomorrow to yeah. And yes, y'all, I am staying away from I told you why I'm staying away from the Carmelo Anthony's case, because they made it more racial than anything. It should be about the case. And some of you guys, I might not like my opinion on this case, but I am going to stay my mouth closed. Let me mind my business. Too many rage baiting that's going on in that community down there. So I stay away from that kind of stuff. That's why y'all never heard me trying to say I was going to go down there and cover that case. That's not a case I want to cover. Nope. I do not want to cover that case. I have no desire. I don't care how many views and thing that people got, because that ain't my cup of tea. That ain't my cup of tea at all. I just have a problem. Okay. Y'all want to hear my opinion? Y'all want to hear my opinion? Y'all don't want to hear my opinion. That's why I'm about to do the live. Ruby, I'm about to do the live. I'm about to do the live. Go behind the scene and do the live. You want me to share my opinion? I share my opinion behind the scene. I'm not sharing it on this. I already have enough folks coming after me. I'll have so many folks mad at me, and once I share my opinion about this case, I'm going to mind my business. The grandparents and sister knew. Martha. The grandparents and sister knew? Martha. Okay, let's see who's this. Who's in here? Let me see more. Now I gotta see, Martha, you got me interested in you now. Hold on, Martha. Martha, you seem like somebody that's very close to this case. Martha, you seem like you're very close. So tell me, do tell, Martha. You said Mellow case is hurtful. It's sad. It's sad one kid had to die. It's sad that people are using this as a way to divide race. It's sad that it's just sad. It's sad. It's a sad situation. Sad. I don't think he went out there to unalive the boy, but when you carry a knife, the expectancy of something, if you stick somebody with a knife, the likelihood of them dying is like right there. So look at Ruby. Ruby's so funny. Look at her, y'all. Ruby, hurry up and got her membership. All right, let me go ahead on and do this update for you guys. I got a lot of stuff to tell you guys. A lot. All right. Y'all all minds are clear? Can I end this now and start my members only live? Can I start my members only live now? It was updated. Okay. Can I start my live now? Can I end this? Everybody's clear? I hope anybody, I be getting these weird comments from folks. I've been getting these weird comments from folks about all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do this members only because I got some stuff to show you. I got some I got some stuff to show you. I got some R. Kelly news. Yeah, I got some. All right, gotta go. Love you guys, regular people. Peace out. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment